Okay.
So, alright guys, well we are going to do a quick, simple dinner for 2 or 3 people. And we're going to do a Chinese stir fry basically. We kind of made it real simple. We have some chicken here, just some boneless, skinless chicken breast. Some udon noodles, which I can show you the case here. Obviously in the store would get a smaller case, but this is what it looks like for me. It is a wheat noodle. If you have a gluten sensitivity or cooking for someone with a gluten sensitivity, it would be real easy to just get a rice noodle, which will be found in the same section in the grocery store. It will be all rice. And at the same time, not everyone knows, but soy sauce also has gluten in it. It's made with wheat. But there's a product out there that's been around for a long time that is the soy sauce without the wheat. It's called Tamari. In fact, I think I have a bottle over here. This is Tamari. So if you are cooking for someone that has a gluten sensitivity, all you would have to do is sub out this for a glass noodle, or a rice noodle. So they're sometimes called glass noodles. And tamari sauce instead of soy sauce. Other than that, everything else is gluten-free, so it'd be real easy. I have some peanuts, some zucchini, some carrots, some cabbage, some peas, bell pepper, an onion, some tofu, some sesame oil, the soy sauce. This is some chopped garlic that I chopped a little while ago, and some sambal, which is a product made by the same company that makes sriracha, Hui Fong Foods. You can find it in that same section. It'll be in like the Asian or ethnic section of the grocery store. So we don't have to use all of these different things. I just kind of put them all out here because they're all different things that you could use. So if I were to put all of this in there, it'd be a big plate of vegetables, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but we'll come back to that. First thing I want to do is I'm going to cut up and marinate the chicken breast. So also, I started a pot of boiling water. It's on the stove over there. You can see that it's already at a roaring boil. Full big pot. I'm not cooking very much noodle, so I don't need a huge pot of water. Just a standard gallon pot will do. First thing I'm going to do is just slice these chicken breasts into nice thin pieces. Luckily it's a nice clean breast, so I'm just going to put it up like this. And again, I use gloves here at work because I'm real comfortable with that, but you don't necessarily need to use gloves. You just have to make sure that you're washing your hands properly. Not that gloves are an excuse to not wash. You still wash your hands with gloves. I'm just comfortable with them. So I'm just going to get rid of all this. When working with raw meats, you always want to be very careful to not cross-contaminate. We always want to clean down our surfaces. I have a sanitizer rinse here. At home you could use Clorox wipes. And a lot of foodborne illness gets infected, people get infected at home, but they don't even realize it. Even a minor case of digestional problem could come from a minor case of foodborne illness. So we really want to just be careful at all times. And you see I have a separate cutting board that I use for the raw chicken than I do for everything else, and that's because that board's not contaminated. So I really want to make sure that board is clean. And I also use the same cutting board every time for raw chicken. See, I have a green board that I use for vegetables, and I have this beige or yellow board sometimes people use, and I never use one for the other. I always maintain that separation. It's just one more degree of protection for contamination. That's key. So I'm just going to do just a real simple marinade. I have this chopped garlic that I just had some peeled garlic that I got from the store, and I put it in the food processor and with the blade and chopped it up. That's all you really need for our quick little dinner. I'm going to put some of this sesame oil. You can see I'm not really measuring it. I'm just kind of putting the dollop in. A little soy sauce. Because soy sauce is so salty, and this is low sodium soy sauce, I pretty much exclusively use low sodium soy sauce for cooking that we do, there's no reason to use a full sodium soy sauce, and there's still plenty in there. So we don't need it. Oh.
We use the tamari in place of the soy sauce for gluten-free.
Thank you.
And they
Yeah.
have rice these things.
Yeah, so you can get rice noodles in the store instead of udon noodles, and instead of soy sauce, you're gonna want, especially you, to find places that sell this. This is tamari, and that is soy sauce without any wheat product in it at all, so you can eat that.
Okay. I use oyster sauce too.
Oyster sauce will work, or fish sauce, which is what is big in Thai food, is fish sauce. Any of those will work. But if you want to stay true to kind of what Chinese, with close to a soy sauce, then tamari is the way to go.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna mix up this. And it's okay if it's a little extra juicy. This is kind of just the marinade. So I'm just gonna set this to the side, and I'm gonna wash my hands. Talked about this last time, but washing your hands is always 30 seconds, hot water, soap. You want a solid 30 seconds of movement. Okay, so now our protein is ready.
Mike, with those crushed frozen garlic cubes, would that
Yes.
work just as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, you would want to give them a little bit of time to defrost ahead of time. But the frozen garlic cubes, I don't know if you guys were in the last lesson, but we talked about you can buy both crushed garlic and ginger. That it basically comes in a little ice tray, and you can find it at the frozen section at your grocery store. And you just pop it out from the bottom and then into whatever you're cooking, and then you have garlic or ginger without any of the fuss. And you don't have to worry about chopping it, you don't have to worry about storing it, it's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and take my noodles. I have this water already going. I have not salted the water yet. Whenever you're cooking noodles, this goes for pasta or even for blanching vegetables. The idea with putting salt in the water is you want it to taste like the ocean. You want it to be as salty as the ocean, essentially. So I'm just going to put that in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and taste it. It's very oceany, briny. So I'm going to go ahead and drop these in. And when I drop them, I'm going to twist my hand, like so. And what this does is it kind of helps them to stay separate while they start to cook. Because if you were to drop them all straight down on top of each other and into the water, they may start to stick together. As their starch molecules kind of get hydrated, they all want to stick together. So by eliminating that surface contact between all of them, I've kind of helped it to stay separate. Those will probably take about 7 to 10 minutes. We'll check on them in a second. So I have a bunch of vegetables here. The carrots and the cabbage I had actually on hand already chopped up. You can find them in grocery stores already chopped up, but it's not so difficult to find. So I'm just going to chop up this pepper and this onion. My favorite way to cut peppers is you can kind of see it's more or less shaped squarish, kind of. There's like definitely some sides to it. I like to just come down right down the sides. Like so. And then you can see I have the top, which if I had some vegetable stock going, I would throw that into the vegetable stock. But for today, I'm just going to toss it. I'm going to pull out some of this white ribbing. This inner white ribbing can sometimes be a little bitter, so that's why I kind of just pull out what will come out with my fingers. And I'm just going to give this a real simple slice. When cutting, it's very important to remember to keep your fingers tucked. I want to ride my knife right along that flat part of my hand, and you see, because my fingers are all tucked in, I'm at no risk of cutting any of those fingers. A lot of people, the big problem a lot of people have is they forget about the pinky and the thumb. And they'll get those three, but then that's hanging out. You don't want to have the pinky or the thumb hanging out at all. So you really want to make sure everything's nice and tucked. And you can see I can just move my left hand a little bit and the knife just follows right along it. Now cut an onion. Best way to cut an onion is to start with the top, but you want to just take very little. See how I still have the root end still attached there? This end, it's not as important. Take the whole thing, and I'm going to go right in half from top to bottom. And you can see how everything is kind of attached still right at this point. That's real important to how we're going to slice it. Today, we're just going to julienne it, it's called. Versus last time I think we did diced, right? So I get rid of the skin. And sometimes you'll see little like parts of the skin. You know, it's okay to just go, if you feel like there's still more tough part, go ahead and pull another layer off there. It's not a big deal. So for today, since we're doing julienne, I do actually cut the root end off. And then I keep it, turn it towards me. I start by cutting off like a quarter of it. And I turn that sideways. And then just go lengthwise. And see, this gives me these long, more or less straight strips. This is, you know, a lot of people, I think their natural inclination is just to go right ahead and cut this way, which is fine too. You get these little half moons, and for what we're doing today, that's perfectly all right as well. So you can kind of do either way, whatever you're more comfortable with. So I got some onion, peppers. These are some baby zucchinis. I'm just gonna like cut these in half. When you're doing stir fry, the trick is to have everything cook very, very quickly. It's a very quick, hot, fast cooking process. So you want to kind of have everything in very thin, small, easy to cook lengths. That's why I have the shredded cabbage and the shredded carrots and the peas. One last thing that I'm going to cut up before we start cooking is some tofu. I don't know how if you guys have had tofu very much. A lot of people get scared to necessarily cook with it. I'm just going to drain out the water. And it's super simple. You can do almost anything to a tofu. It just comes out looking like a brick. This is extra firm tofu, which you know, it's kind of self-explanatory. It comes out extra firm. The reason it comes in different thicknesses is they basically make it's like a paste essentially, a tofu paste. And they put it on big racks with like cheesecloth, and they press it. And the more pressed for the more time that it's pressed, the more firm it'll be, and the less water it'll have inside it. I like extra firm because it holds a nice shape to it, and it has very little water, so you can kind of cook with it immediately. Sometimes if you're working with just a firm tofu or a medium tofu, it's a good idea to put a weight on top and squeeze it, and that'll kind of squeeze out. So you can see water comes out of it when I squeeze. But because it's already extra firm and because of what we're doing today, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to cut it in half right down the middle. And then I'm going to cut little lengths of it this way. Again, I try to stay as consistent as possible. And then I'm going to come across again. And you can see I have nice little uniform squares. So I'm going to come over here and check our noodles real quick. I'm going to turn on the fire for my pan. Now, the reason why I didn't specify a specific time is unlike American pastas. Unlike a lot of pastas, sometimes a lot of Asian noodles don't have the cooking time listed, or it's in a different language, because oftentimes these noodles are. So you kind of have to go by feel. You can start early, just go ahead and pull one out, and then eat it. And you'll know, based on how chewy it is, I'm going to get one for you guys, just how close it is. Here. No, you can't have this one.
Yeah.
No, this has gluten.
Ah,
This is a regular noodle.
is it rice? Rice
This
noodle?
is not a rice noodle. This is udon noodle, which is wheat.
That's not bad.
No, and you can tell it's a little al dente. I would say it needed another couple of minutes. So we're just going to go ahead and give it another couple of minutes. I pulled out the nonstick pan. I think we've talked before. And I use the nonstick here because it's what 90% of people have in their home. And for today, it's also good because I'm going to put the noodles back into the pan, and the noodles will want to stick to the pan. So a nonstick does work pretty well in this situation. I also have another pan here because I'm going to work in stages. If I were to put all this stuff in here, it would drop the temperature of the pan, and before I knew it, the pan would be cold and everything would just be steamy. And I'm sure you guys have seen, maybe at Pickle Sticks, how they have the big stir-fry setups, and they have huge flames that come up, and the guys are working back there, and they're sweating, and it's because stir-fry is a very high-heat, high-intensity, quick cooking process. So instead of the burners that we have here just can't keep up with that, and I don't have a nice big wok, nor do most people. So I'm just going to work in batches. So first thing I'm going to cook is a little bit this onion, and again, I'm not going to use all of this prep that we did. I kind of just shown. I'm going to start with a little bit of sesame oil. Gonna try the noodles one more time. Perfect. So I'm gonna strain the noodles. It's real important to always, when you're straining hot fluid, you want to pour it away from you. Because if you pour it towards you, there's a risk that it's going to come up and splash you. And you can do, even just the steam from this can do some major damage. So I got our noodles, those are ready to go. One more onion over here. Now, if you're cooking for a lot of people, we could go ahead and use all this, but we don't need it. So. Now do some peppers and the zucchini. Again, I don't want to overcrowd the pan, so I'm just going to give it a second. You guys have any questions so far?
What temperature do you use for the stir fry?
Right now, as high as possible. As high and as hot as will humanly go. For this burner, this is about as high as it goes, unfortunately. But if you can get it higher, it's all about doing it quick and fast. So if you were to have a faster burner, you really got to watch it. When you start getting a little color, is when you would switch it out and go on to the next batch. You know what I'm saying? Get a little toss. We got our noodles here just chilling. You guys can see how they've changed. They've gotten a lot thicker, a lot fatter. Come back, see our chicken's marinated nicely. We'll be ready for that in a second. I'm gonna wash my hands. Try to cook the things that will take the longest first. That's why you start with the onions and the zucchini and the peppers. Those are going to take a little bit longer than the others. Just going to go ahead and pour that out here. Like I said, we're going to work in batches. I'm going to put some of the carrots and the cabbage. Just a touch more oil. Sesame oil. You don't have to use the sesame oil. You could use any cooking oil that you, extra virgin olive oil necessarily wouldn't be a good here because it wouldn't taste quite right. But any kind of generic cooking oil, canola oil, vegetable oil would be perfect as well. Again, I don't want to overcrowd it at all. I have some limes here that I'm going to use to finish it. Just going to squeeze that at the last second, and it's going to add a little acid and open it up a little bit and give it a nice zing. You can see it's already cooking, already getting some color. And that's why this makes a real great quick meal for the family, because you can have everything ready and stored, and at the last second you can pull everything out, get your pan hot, and have it good, and have your dinner cooked just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to put a little of the tofu in there. Tofu is nice when it has a little crispness to it, so I'm just going to go ahead and give it some time in the pan. And if you're really in a rush, you could actually use two different pans and work simultaneously with both. You could have another pan over here and you're doing both. That way you kind of stay true to the essence of stir fried, but without waiting to do each stage. Just have some green peas. We got some nice color on the tofu already. Now you can really use any kind of vegetables you want. This is just kind of examples of what you could do, but you can stir fry anything. You know, I really encourage people to experiment, try different things. Just because it's not the way you think it's supposed to be doesn't make it wrong. You can make it any way that is going to make you happy, it's going to make your family happy, and going to get you the nutrition that you need. You know, sitting and worrying about is this the way it's supposed to be is a waste of time, because it's all just food. It's all going to the same place. And we're not trying to replicate what they do at the restaurant. We're not trying to replicate what someone else does. We're just trying to feed our families, you know? Alright, so we got some nice color there. Pan's nice and hot. Now we're going to wrap things up. I'm just going to give our chicken. Smells nice, yeah? Get that soy and sesame oil cooking. It smells real good. When stir fried, it's a good idea to turn on the vent fan in your house, because when you are using those hot and fast cooking methods, it's real easy to generate some smoke. And it's just a good idea that before you even start to turn on that fan, especially if you're working with chili. Whenever you're cooking with chilies, chili sauces, chili paste, chili powders, and you're cooking with high heat, it's real easy to put off some vapors that will put you on your rear end, because when you inhale it, it will knock you out. It feels spicy. It's hard to describe, but you feel that spiciness throughout your nasal cavity and throughout your respiratory system. So you really want to be careful, and just a cautionary measure, keep